Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome. My name is Christina and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. In this video, we are going to be swatching and talking about all of the brand new products that Rare Beauty just launched this week. They are shadow sticks, eyebrow pencils, as well as eyeliners, gel eyeliners. So I have a couple here. I have all of the shadow sticks, a couple of the eyeliners, and one of the brow pencils. So if you guys are interested in seeing what my thoughts are, then let's get started. As you can tell, I have no eye makeup on. My brows are not done because we are going to be doing all of these products and swatching all of them. For this launch, they did focus on eye makeup, and I have all 6 of the brand new shadow sticks. These are called the All of the Above Weightless Eyeshadow Sticks. I did a little video just swatching them on the back of my hand, so I'll link that in the description box for you guys so you can see what they look like swatched. As far as the eyeliners go, I bought the shade True Brown and Compassion. I skipped on the black one for now, and then I bought the eyebrow pencil in the shade Soft Black. So we're going to be applying all of these products onto the face so you can see what it looks like on me. I do categorize myself under light medium / medium skin tones, and I do have brown in my skin, so I wanted you guys to be able to have sort of like a reference on how these look on my skin tone. And we're also going to be talking about the formulation of all of these products as well. I think what I want to do is start with the brows, and then we'll move on to the eyeliners and then on to the shadow sticks. Now, full disclaimer, I did already use these products yesterday when I purchased them, so I have a little bit of a thought on each one, which I feel like is more helpful than doing like a first impression for these, honestly. And starting off with the eyebrow pencil, this is called the Brow Harmony Precision Pencil. I purchased mine again in the shade Soft Black. This comes in 6 different shades. It's a long-lasting waterproof pencil with a fine angle tip to create precise hair-like strokes for the most natural-looking brows. This retails for $19. I did buy mine, all of these products actually, at Sephora. It says it's not too creamy, not too waxy, but just right. That's interesting because yesterday when I was trying it on, I did notice that it was like right in between. It's slightly creamy to where it deposits the color evenly, but it's not super waxy, so it didn't feel like it was holding the brow hairs up on its own. I did feel like I still needed to set it. It looks pretty standard. However, the weight of this is very weighty compared to other eyebrow pencils, in my opinion. It feels very luxe for $19. You do have your standard small eyebrow spoolie right there. I like a thinner spoolie when it comes to eyebrow pencils because I feel like it gives you more precision. And then you have the tip right here. It is an angled pointed tip. It is very thin, but it still has a little bit of thickness to it. And if you can see right here, it does have a pointed tip. So you can use the thinnest portion of this to create really small hair-like strokes. And then as you kind of move downwards onto the pencil, you can achieve more thicker hair-like strokes. My go-tos are the Morphe Micro Brow Pencil, and recently I've been using the Anastasia one a lot, the Brow Wiz. I like a thinner pencil because for me, I don't really need thickness in my brows. They are quite thick already. I mainly just need to fill in sparse areas, so I find that a thinner brow pencil helps me create those hair-like strokes. So what I'm going to do, I brushed my brow hairs down actually, and I'm going to kind of draw it in and shape my brow first. And I'm using this side of the pencil right here. I actually like a creamier pencil when it comes to shaping, but when it comes to filling it in, I do like a more waxy brow pencil. But this one actually does pretty well. I'm now taking the very tip of it and I'm just drawing in those hair-like strokes. I find that you don't need a lot of pressure when you're using this because it's so creamy. Now I'm just going to brush my hairs up so we can kind of see what we're working with before we apply more product. All right, and now I'm just gonna focus on filling everything in, filling in those sparse areas. Okay, this is what the first brow is looking like with just that brow pencil in it. I feel like it's very easy to shape the brow with this, and you can create those hair-like strokes very easily too because it does deposit that product with very little pressure. So make sure that you go in with a light hand when you use this, just in case you get a little bit too much product on the brows, you know. So before we move on to the next brow, I do want to set them, and I always set my brows with either a brow gel or soap. And for the most part, I do prefer soap because I find that with my stubborn brows, they tend to like to fall, especially on this outer corner right here. And with soap, they do stay up the best that way. So I actually have pear soap in this little tin. I just melted it down, put it in this tin, and I'm going to wet it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, barely any really. I like it to be just slightly damp because I find that that's the best way for them to stay put. Taking a separate spoolie brush, and then we're gonna take what's on here, brush the brows back and forth, and then put them in place. All right, here's what that brow is looking like once I set it down, and I do feel like I want to fill in just that little gap right there, so I'm gonna take my pencil again and just fill in that area. Okay, there you go. This is the after. Here is the before of my brows once I use that brow pencil as well as setting it down with some soap. I think that this looks great. I don't feel like it looks too crazy dark on my face, which is something that I can encounter if I go for more of a black shade when it comes to brow pencils. I think this looks fairly natural. I really like the fact that I can like shape my brow really easily with this. And I actually like that this is more on the creamy side because sometimes I find when I use soap in my brows and then I try to go in with a brow pencil, it doesn't draw on evenly. It kind of skips and it kind of sits on the soap a little bit funny, so it's a little harder to draw in my lines. So with more waxy pencils, I do have to use the pencil first before setting my brows. But when I'm going for a more natural feathery like brow, I do prefer using the soap first and then using a brow pencil. And I feel like this would be a good brow pencil to do it in that order because it's creamy enough to where it's going to hold its own on top of the soap, you know, and it's also not too creamy to where you're gonna get like a mess all over your brows. So what I'm going to do with this brow is I'm actually going to use my soap on it first, and then we're going to fill in the brows afterwards with this. Okay, here is what my right brow is looking like. Honestly, I feel like this looks a little bit more laminated while this one is a little bit more fluffy. It's definitely not a laminated brow, but it is sitting a little bit more taut, I guess, to the skin. But I will say I do think that I prefer using the pencil first before the soap in either case. I feel like I just get a smoother application that way. At the end of the video, I am going to be rating each product so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I would recommend or which products I like more. So before we get into that, let's move on to the eyeliners. So again, I got the brown shade and kind of like this plummy shade for the eyeliners. I skipped the black one because I'll usually reach for a brown eyeliner before I reach for a black one. So I thought I would do that instead. But these are called the Perfect Strokes Longwear Gel Eyeliner. It's an easy glide waterproof gel pencil that stays put all day, even on the waterline, with a built-in sharpener for max precision and glide every time. These also retail for $19. It says it's rich and smooth, goes on crisp for instant definition that won't tug or skip. Now I did use this yesterday. I used the shade Compassion just to like get a feel for it. And just so you know, when you twist it up, you can't twist it down. You can hear it clicking. So here are the two shades I picked up. Here is the shade Compassion and here is True Brown. I feel like these are really beautiful shades. I like that Compassion is definitely more of a purple burgundy shade instead of leaning towards like a darker shade that can be mistaken for brown. And I like this tone of brown. It's more of a darker brown shade, so I feel like this will look nice and deep, but not as deep as a black eyeliner. So actually what I want to do is I want to put this on my waterline, like my tightline, what I typically do. I don't do it on my waterline at the bottom, but I do like to tightline. So I'm going to tightline with the brown one on one side and do like a little wing. And then on the other side, I am going to do a little wing with the shade Compassion. So I'm going to take this into my tightline. It's not applying right away, so let me warm it up on the back of my hand a little bit more and then apply it. My favorite eyeliner when it comes to pencil eyeliners is the Makeup by Mario ones because they're really creamy and they glide on. Ooh, sometimes when it comes to these thinner mechanical like pencils, when you tightline, it just tickles so much. So my eye's watering a little bit, but there it is on the tightline. I feel like I can darken it a little bit more. There you go. You can see that right there. And because my eyes are watering, I think we'll be able to tell if it transfers down into the waterline. So let me go ahead and tightline on the other eye now. It's not super dark, not super pigmented within that tightline. I feel like I need it to be a little thicker, I guess, a little creamier. Because we're gonna do a wing eyeliner next, I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it. So I'm gonna take off that bottom right there and just sharpen the pencil up. Ooh, nice. Okay, nice and sharpened now. I have this Sigma small angle brush in E65, and I'm gonna use this in case I need to kind of like wing out a little bit more. So I actually don't like to go all the way in with my wing liner. I like to do the wing and then just bring it in maybe a third into the eye. I find that always works the best for me because no matter what, I tend to have my eyeliner transfer up onto my eyelid because my eyelids are quite small. So I'm gonna do a tiny little wing right here. And before that dries, gonna go in with my separate brush and just flick that up. Wow, that's pretty. I like that it still looks brown though, instead of like a deep black almost, you know? It's actually really pretty. And then just imagine that my lashes are curled. I didn't want to put any mascara on because I feel like it's a lot more difficult to like put eye makeup on after mascara. Oh, I am seeing a little bit of transfer onto my waterline, by the way, if you guys can see here. There's a bit of brown transfer right on the outer portion of my waterline. But honestly, when it comes to pencil eyeliners, I feel like that's really typical. I feel like it's the first layer of the eyeliner. So usually what I do is I'll just use my finger to kind of take it off. And then if it's a good eyeliner throughout the day, I won't get more transfer. Now let's go in and do a little wing right here with the burgundy shade in Compassion. I am also going to sharpen her up because I used this yesterday as well. I don't know if these wings are gonna match, but we're gonna try our best. And I'm gonna do the same thing where I kind of go in maybe a third of the way and wing it out. Okay, here is what that Compassion shade looks like on me. I brought it in a little bit more than I anticipated. It's a little bit thicker than I anticipated also. But I like this shade. I feel like it's a good like neutral kind of burgundy, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's not too bright to where it would be a pop of color. I feel like this could still kind of pass as a muted sort of neutral wing liner. And I like that. I like that it can be this more like subtle shade. They are very creamy. They go on nicely, but I don't feel like I was really able to get that point without an outside like brush, you know? So for me, they do kind of like skip a little bit towards the tail end if you are trying to get that sharp wing, but I'm not like an expert when it comes to wing eyeliner, especially with pencils, so don't take my word for it. If you are like, you got it down to a science, I'm sure you can make this like super nice and creamy and easily like blend it out, you know? All right, next, what I assume we've all been waiting for, let's go into the shadow sticks. I'm gonna swatch all of these on my eyes and just talk about the formulation and everything as well. So these do come in 6 shades. It's a super creamy do-it-all eyeshadow stick that makes it easy to line, shade, smoke out, and highlight eyes all in one, complete with a built-in sharpener. Oh, I didn't know that. They also have a sharpener. That's awesome. I guess because assuming you're going to use it for eyeliner as well. These retail for $22. It's supposed to be a rich, weightless formula that melts instantly into skin. Water resistant, fade proof, transfer proof, crease resistant color. So I'm gonna give like a mini review as I apply these because I did wear this yesterday. I did go to a music festival with some friends. It was like 95 degrees out. We were out there for about 6 hours. It did end up raining and it was very humid because of that. And spoiler alert, I wore the shade Growth and it pretty much stayed all day. I had very, very minimal creasing right on the inner corner, but that was pretty much it. And I was very impressed. When it comes to any sort of cream eyeshadow, if it's liquid, if it's like potted, you know, if it's in a stick form, I'm all about it. So let's actually go ahead and apply these. So the first two I'm going to do are the shade Well-Being and Integrity. Well-Being is described as a soft pink and Integrity is described as a champagne. Here is Well-Being and here is Integrity. So yesterday I did blend it out with a brush and it worked great, but today I think I'm just going to go in with my fingertip to try to blend this out. It glides on. It's like buttery smooth. So with one swipe, it just glides. I love a creamy shadow stick. They're the best. And I always go in with quite a lot, honestly, because I find with shadow sticks, when you blend it out, it does kind of diffuse the color a little bit. These tend to dry down fairly quickly though, so I will say do one eye at a time. It doesn't feel like a cream, it doesn't feel moussey or anything. It literally feels like it dries on contact. If you've ever used the nude sticks, eyeshadow sticks, you know, it's similar to that. All right, here is the shade Wellbeing. It's that soft pink shade. And again, try to imagine this with mascara and like curled lashes. And let's go in now with the shade Integrity. They just go on to the eyelids super easily. They don't tug and pull or anything, which I think is great. All right, here is the shade Wellbeing and here is the shade Integrity. My preference of the two is gonna be Integrity because I feel like it just kind of blends into my eyes and it brings a lot of brightness in there without being too like stark white, you know? So this is what those look like. Again, these are a super creamy, very buttery formulation. They blend quite easily, and from what I can tell so far from my wear test yesterday, they stay put. I'm just gonna use the cotton pad and my Neutrogena eye makeup remover to remove these. All right, the next two shades I have are the shades Contentment and Growth. Contentment is a rose taupe and Growth is a copper shade. Here is Contentment and here is Growth. Going in with the shade Contentment on my right eye, just buttery. So buttery. I love that. I'm not a huge taupe girl because I find that sometimes they look too gray, but I think the rose tone in this helps to stop that gray look. When it comes to cream products like this, I kind of like to just diffuse it all over my eye. I bring up my eyeshadows quite a bit, like almost right under the brow, because I find that it opens up my eyes a lot more than just keeping it on my eyelid space. I like that shade a lot more than I anticipated. It's beautiful. So it gives you a little bit of a pink shift, but also like a taupey shift as well. Okay, going in with the shade Growth. So I used this one yesterday and I love this copper shade. It's definitely a warmer copper tone. It has like the perfect amount of gold in it to make it like a really warm toned copper. Okay, here is Growth. You do have that base of copper in there, but the glitter kind of adds a little bit more dimension to it, like the gold glitter within it. So I feel like this is definitely like a one and done eyeshadow shade for me. But here is Contentment and here is Growth. I love these shades. I think they're gorgeous. I think they could both be one and done eyeshadows on myself. They're both beautiful. And now going in with the last two shades here that we have, these are the shades Compassion and Adventure. Compassion is a burgundy and Adventure is a bronze. All right, here is Compassion and here is Adventure. All right, let's go in with the shade Compassion first. Now this seems like a shade that I would use specifically for eyeliner, and it does seem like it's the counterpart for the Compassion eyeliner, just with shimmer within it. Oh, this one doesn't seem to be blending as well. Did a little bit more to see if I can get a better blend out of it. Are my lids just really dry now? That could be the case for sure. Maybe I'll go in with a brush here just to try to blend out those outer corners, or the outer edges, I mean. I think my lids are just really dry now from those other shades. I don't know. Okay, this one is not blending the way that I want it to. It's like really patchy. But I have been removing with eye makeup remover and kind of like rubbing at my eyes. So it could just be because of that. But I think we'll be able to better understand once we do the other shade in the shade Adventure. So let's do that now. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, this one is actually blending in really nicely. So I think it might just be that shade for some odd reason. Oh my gosh, I love this shade. Look how beautiful that bronze tone is. It has a little bit of gold in it, but overall it's definitely a darker bronze. Gorgeous. The shade Compassion is really pretty, but the blendability of it was not the best. I do see a little bit of patching throughout. If I was able to get that glittery like wine tone all over the eyes would have been so gorgeous. I'm gonna have to play around with that one a little bit more to figure out what's going on. Very curious though, because every other shade just like glided on and diffused like butter. But here is the shade Adventure and here is the shade Compassion. Okay, I'm gonna remove these and do an eye look really quickly and I'll be back to talk about my final thoughts. All right guys, I am back. I just finished my eyes. So on my eyes, I ended up using the shade Contentment, which is that rose taupe. And on the inner corner, I did Well-Being, which is that soft pink shade. I really like the way this is looking. I also did a tiny little wing liner with that Compassion shade, and I redid the True Brown on my tightline. So let's do a little mini review on each one of these products. Starting with my favorite product of the launch, the shadow sticks. I think with the exception of the shade Compassion, which is really weird, I don't really know why it skipped or it didn't really blend the same way. It went on really nice and buttery, but when I actually went to blend it, it seemed to dry down a lot quicker than the other 5 shades, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. However, with that aside, these shadow sticks are really good staple shadow sticks. I like how creamy they are. I like how buttery they apply. I don't find that they tug or pull on my eyes whatsoever. They feel nice and creamy, and when you're blending it out, especially with your fingertip, they feel very lightweight. It doesn't feel like a moussey texture. It doesn't feel like a liquid or anything. You know how you can really feel those whenever you're blending them out and then they kind of like dry down? These don't feel like anything, virtually anything. Whenever I was blending it out, it just, I don't know, I guess the closest thing I can equate this to is the feeling of a powder eyeshadow where it's very lightweight. So they hit the nail on the head with the whole weightless portion of it. I think the blendability of these are great. Now I will put in the description box down below how my eyeshadow today wears, just like on an everyday basis, not going to a music festival type of thing. I have an idea that these are going to last really nicely, and I didn't use any primer, and I love a good cream eyeshadow product that I can use with no primer. That is like my go-to, because for someone that is super lazy when it comes to doing eyeshadow, I love a one and done, and I love something that I don't need to use a primer for. So something that I know I can rely on to just stay on the eyes. Next, we have the brow pencil. This was really good. I like the weight of it. For some reason, I just really love how weighty this feels. It just feels so luxe, you know? I really like the shape of the pencil, how it's angled, but you still can achieve a very pointed tip on that very top of it, and you can kind of utilize all sides of this. So you can use the sides to kind of shape the brows, and then you can use the top or bottom to create those hair-like strokes. And I really like a thinner spoolie like this one because it allows you to really diffuse the product out. I feel like this is literally right in the middle of creamy and waxy. It's not too waxy to where you have to really press hard on the skin to deposit pigmentation, but it's also not too creamy to where when you touch the skin, it kind of just melts, and whenever you're diffusing it with your spoolie, it just turns into a shadow almost, you know, like as if you're using like a powder eyebrow powder. And I really like the soft black shade because I don't find it's too dark to where it makes my brows look crazy on my face. And then lastly, we have the eyeliners. I was really hoping that I would like absolutely love these eyeliners. They are nice and creamy. They go on to the lids really nicely. However, if you want to use this to create that wing and not use a different brush to like make it sharper on the outside, I'm not sure if you'd be able to achieve that even with its sharpest tip, you know, because I did find that the farther out I went, it did kind of tug just slightly to where I felt like I was more comfortable building up the color and then going in with a separate angled brush to further like define that wing. So that's just me. Again, I'm not like a super expert when it comes to eyeliner, especially winged eyeliner. Half the time my wings are not even. As someone that's just like a regular makeup wearer, I guess. These are good, but I wouldn't say that they're the best to create sharp lines. I think if you want to use this to kind of create a smoky liner, that would probably be the best way to use this. And I wanted to note that whenever I was doing my eye makeup, I did check my tightline and I did find that a lot of that brown shade disappeared. Like, it wasn't on my waterline, but kind of just disappeared. So I did reapply some of it, but I have a feeling that this is not going to be my go-to for tightlining or waterline or anything like that. My go-tos are definitely the Makeup by Mario eye pencils. I feel like those last the best out of all of the regular eye pencils I've used. And I've found that my preferred type of pencil liner is not the mechanical kinds like these, but the actual wooden pencils. So we will see how this holds up. Maybe my opinion on these will change throughout the day or as I continue to play with them. They're not terrible. They give you a lot of pigmentation. It's just the actual precision that I think might give people issues. Overall, I really enjoyed this launch. I love that they came out with brand new eye products instead of just expanding colors of different products that they have existing in their line. I'm excited to see, like, as they expand the shadow stick colors and maybe finishes, crossing my fingers for mattes one of these days. And maybe they'll do more gel eyeliner shades. I don't know. I have a feeling that people are going to love these shadow sticks. They're just so easy. They're a great like one and done type of shadow stick. So that is my full review on this brand new launch. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if I missed anything. And again, check the description box every once in a while for some updates on how these wear. Also, before you go, make sure to like this video and leave me a comment if you're feeling so inclined. It really helps YouTube's algorithm figure out where to push my video, and hopefully, you know, it helps me find other people that can use me as a resource as well. So that is everything for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it enjoyable, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.